All right, everybody. I just wanted to make a quick video about how to access some of the stuff on your textbook and then also the questions on the College Board website. All right, so let's start with the textbook. So this is the link that you find in the Bitmoji classroom. And if you go to the sign in, right, because at this point I feel like you all have accounts. Yours, again, unfortunately, this will look differently for you than it does for me because I have the teacher account, but I go to this class, which is probably your only class. And the main thing that you want to look for in here is whatever option gives you for assignments. So if you go to all assignments, what you will find is all the different things that I've given you, right? Now, you won't be able to see some of these things, but they're all in here. And they have due dates and time, and they have, for me, when that you'll be able to see them. And they're color coded, right? So like your quizzes will be colored in this yellowish, and the assignments that are from your checklist are colored in blue. And then you just click on the assignment and go through. And when you're done, it'll be marked in here as complete. And then all you do is go back to Google Classroom and just mark as done, right? And that way I'll know. The other big thing that you want to do in here is this option that's over here that says e-text. Now, again, I'm assuming for you it's on the left-hand column. It just might look differently for me. So when you click on it, it usually takes you to this page. So you click view the e-text. It will open it in another window, right? And so we have the e-text here as it loads. Awesome. There we go. Depending on where you go, what it actually does is it loads where you went last. For me right now, it's loading the cover page. But up here in the left-hand corner, there's this 3-bar menu. So you choose menu. And what this does is this brings up all the different chapter sections. So when we start the first unit, we're doing chapter 2. And so if you need to read a section, you can just go 2.1 and then click on it. It'll open 2.1. Here you will find vocab highlighted in black. And if you click on it, it actually tells you what the definition is. You'll have all the sections. You can read through them. If you need to make notes, you can use these as your guidance for making notes. And then when you get to the bottom, you have concept check questions. So if you're choosing to do the concept check questions, you can answer them here. As I mentioned, you can check the answer, but remember, the purpose of being able to choose the things that you want to do is not necessarily to simply meet requirements, but instead to make a path toward learning that works for you. So if you're using the check answer, please don't just write it down. That's not what I'm looking for. Write down your answer. Use this to see if you're right. I've already had several people ask me questions based on the discrepancy between what they thought and that. I think that's wonderful. Okay. Other things I wanted to show you about this. If you click on this tab, I'm just going to move the viewable area here for a second. There are sections over here, right? So you can see a history, so you can see all the different stuff that you've been to already. You can even clear recent if you needed to. There's a notebook if you wanted to take some sort of notes about what you're doing. I don't necessarily think this is what you want to do if you're like trying to make notes. This to me more is if you're like, oh, I want to remember this thing in this section. Or, hey, I'm going to remember this part when I'm doing this activity kind of thing. Finally, what I want to point out is the study section, because I actually think this is pretty useful. So if you go up here to chapter 1, you'll notice here's all the different chapters. So you can pick any of the chapters. I'm going to go to number 4 because that's what we're doing next. You can find cards, right? So see how it says 1 of 66? This is all the vocab terms in that unit. And if you click on them, you've got the definition on the other side, pronunciation keys, and you can just go through all of them if you'd like. You can even star ones that you have a problem with, okay? You have matching. So again, this is like a match thing where you try to figure out what is what. So this should go there. See, I was correct and I got points. So there's just ways to review some stuff if you want. And then here is some practice. This appears to be cards for you. Oh, yeah, it's asking you if it's correct or minus. So there are some tools in here for you to use. I also want to go back to the contents. So at the end of every chapter, there's a thing that says chapter review and test your understanding. So the first thing I want to do is go to test your understanding. So if you plan to do the essay, that is the scientific inquiry essay, every unit will have those that belong to the chapters. So like if you were doing the chapter 2 scientific inquiry essay, it's right here, right? And you would read this and answer these questions and turn it in. But what you'll notice is right up here, it says check out the practice test. So if you click on that, there is a practice test for each of the various sections. So you want to do a chapter 2 practice test, here's some questions that you can do. Now, the reason that I would suggest this is because I use questions from your textbook to give you a quiz. And so it's not so much that you're going to find the same question, but rather you're going to find a similar thought process in terms of what they expect you to find for answers. So that could be helpful for you. Okay. Let's go back to the top. Practice test opens a new thing. Excellent. Now, the other thing is you can find in the chapter review here. So these are the basic summary of the chapter. So if you were going to actually review for a test, this could be a good place to try and wrap your head around everything that was in the chapter. Okay. So that's pretty much it for the textbook. What I want to show you now is the AP website. So if you go to College Board, you log in. You use whatever login you normally use to like take the SATs or if you have other AP courses. And what you're looking for is this thing called AP Classroom. When you go to AP Classroom, it will frequently ask you for a code, and our code is on the Bitmoji Classroom on the second slide. And then when you go in here, what you're going to find is something that actually looks like this, right? So it'll have all the unit topics that are for our unit, right? So these are the 6, unit 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 4, 5, 6. I used the College Board setup to match our units to. At the bottom, it'll say personal progress check. So over here where it says MCQ is a collection of multiple choice questions. Now yours looks very different. Oh, no, it doesn't. This is what yours looks like. So you can just go and answer these questions, and it'll tell you whether they're correct or not. I have it set so it should tell you whether they're right or wrong. And that's it. It's a good place to get practice. This is good practice both for quizzes and also just for the AP unit itself. Finally, I just want to point out here, if for some reason you find the Mr. Anderson videos not super helpful or reading the textbook is just pretty dense, they do have videos of people walking through the various topics. I cannot vouch for their quality, but they are here. And sometimes simply hearing a different person say it in a different way can be useful. I'm not encouraging you to just spend a ton of time doing this, but if there's something you're particularly struggling with, this could be a good resource for you as well. All right, so that's just a real quick video about our textbook and where to access it, and also about the College Board website. Hopefully that was helpful.